Thank you very much. So hello everyone, my name is Julien Delarue and I'm from the French Society, SFAS, even though I now live in California. And it's my great pleasure today to present the 4 societies on behalf of the board of E3S. And we have a very dense program. We have 15 minutes for each society. We'll first have the group from the UK, the IFST Sensory Science Group. And then we'll have the Swedish, the SSN, Swedish Sensory Network. Then there will be Austria with the Sensorik Netzwerk Österreich. I'm sorry for the pronunciation. And then we'll have the Dutch group, and it's the Sensory Prof group from the Netherlands. And I'm not trying to pronounce it. I'm sorry, Daniel. So first, it's a pleasure to welcome Lauren Rogers, Kate Bailey, Stephanie Mitchell, and Sarah Bilson. So, oh, and just one quick note. So we wait until the end of all the presentations for the discussions. So if you have questions, you can use the chat. There's this little square, triangle, and circle, and there's the chat box, and you can use that to ask questions. So please, I don't know who will be starting for the UK.
It's me.
Yeah, okay. Please welcome.
Thank you very much, Julian. My name is Lauren Rogers, and I'm a freelance sensory scientist, and I'm based in the beautiful part of the UK, the Peak District. I'm pleased to be here with several other members of the Institute of Food Science and Technology's Sensory Science Group. And from now on, I'm going to call them the IFST SSG, otherwise it's all a bit of a mouthful. Throughout our slides, we've included QR codes so that you can find out more information about the team, attend to our events, or read some of our publications. So I'm very pleased to tell you this is what we're going to be including. So we're going to do an introduction to the group, the IFST SSG, and then we're going to take a stroll through our various teams. So we'll be talking to people from the events teams, from the ethical and professional standards team, from the communication team, the accreditation and education team, and then we're also going to talk about our plans for the future. So may I introduce our chair, Stephanie Mitchell, and Steph is going to talk to us, give us a bit of an introduction to the group. So I'll hand over to you, Steph. Are you still there, Steph?
Steph, I think you're muted.
Unmute. Sorry, beginner's error. My apologies. So hello, everybody. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the background for our sensory science group. We are one of the special interest groups at the IFST, the Institute of Food Science and Technology. The group itself was suggested by Hal McPhee, that's his picture at the top of the page there, back in 1998. And we were actually set up as a proper professional body in 1999. So people had to have appropriate qualifications and experience and make a formal application, which was then assessed by the group before you were able to join. So it's now 23 years old. That's not my age, sadly. The group itself was actually set up to provide opportunities to engage and share knowledge with other sensory professionals. So as a group, we provide a range of activities, such as an annual conference, discussion workshops. We also cover sensory training and accreditation of courses. We review and promote ethical and professional standards within the industry. And in addition, we have a register of sensory scientists. So without further ado, I will now hand over to my colleague, Kate, who will carry on and tell you a little bit more about the next area. Thank you.
Hello, so my name's Kate Bailey, and I actually work for Kerry in my professional life, but I'm here today as the lead of the communications group. So I'm going to introduce you, and in fact I'm going to be questioning Sarah Bilson about our events group. So hello, Sarah. How are you? Just checking your microphone's working, Sarah.
No, yeah, sorry. Hi, Kate.
Perfect. Hello. So my first question is, well, first of all, you might want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, so hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Bilson, and I am part of the events team for the IFST SSSG, and it's quite exciting to help put on and promote the events that we do.
And following on from that, what are you most proud of, Sarah?
So I think as a group, what we're most proud of is over the 23 years we've been able to put on events that really focus on topical themes and allow sensory professionals to come together to stay up to date and discuss and debate and network over the year. We're also really proud during 2019 when our annual in-person conference was cancelled that we were able to quickly pivot and put the agenda on as a series of webinars over the year. It was the first time we've ever run any online events, as I'm sure it was for many people, but that really allowed us to attract a more diverse and worldwide audience. So we're very pleased with that and hoping to continue with that in the future.
Yeah, so great agile working, turning that around. And talking about the future, what are your plans for the future?
So really our plans for the future are continue to doing more of the same, continue to running events. We aim to put on 4 events a year, which will now be a mixture of online and in-person events. And also looking forward to collaborating with more like complementary groups such as the E3S, the SCI, and innovation and food groups. As you can see on this slide here, our next webinar is on the 30th of March, where we're going to be delving into the exciting topic of like better living through sensory. And we're also very excited to have our first in-person event since the pandemic hit, really, which is going to be our annual conference, which is, as everybody probably knows, in conjunction with the E3S to celebrate the 10th anniversary in Reading, and that's on the 10th of May. The theme for this is health. We think it's quite a topical subject. And you can see the QR codes on the slides there. So if you want to find out more details about those events and sign up, please do.
Perfect. So something for everyone, people who want to attend in-person events and people who still want to attend virtual events. Thank you so much for that, Sarah.
You're welcome. Thank you.
No problem. And our next group is actually ethical and professional standards. So Sarah Kemp leads this group. Unfortunately, she couldn't be with us today, so Lauren has kindly agreed to stand in for her. So Lauren, what is this group most proud of?
Well, Sarah was most proud of the IFST guidelines for ethical and professional practices for the sensory analysis of food. So this was first published in May 2005 and has been updated every 5 years since. The guidelines give everyone information. You can all download it at that QR code there. Gives information about the need for organisational ethical policies, gives information about conducting risk assessments, food hygiene and data protection, just some examples. And also in the appendix, there's some examples of potential adverse effects from long-term sensory assessment. So again, very useful information there.
Thank you for that. That's certainly something we have on our sensory drive at Kerry, so something we refer to. And what did Sarah say she was planning for the future?
Well, the SSG has just taken on the chair of the British Standards Institute for Sensory Analysis. So the British Standards is part of the ISO Committee on Sensory Analysis. And we're just about to put forward a new work proposal. We'd like to write an international standard on professional and ethical practices in sensory analysis. So if there's any of the other groups out there who would be interested in joining us on this, do please get in touch, because it'd be really good to do it as a group rather than on our own.
Perfect. Apologies, my cat wanted to make a little announcement there. Thank you so much for that. And I believe it is sorry, my cat says, I believe it's myself who's talking next. So Lauren,
Yes.
You're interviewing me.
Yeah, so welcome, Kate, as the lead of our communication group. What are you most proud of?
I'm really proud. We're actually quite a new group, just a few years old. We're not the 23 years old that the other groups are. And I guess we're proud of quite a few things, but just recently we've written quite a few articles. So, you know, this almost kicked off when COVID hit. So one of the very first articles we wrote was about ways of working in COVID times and how that's affected the sensory and consumer science community. A couple of other ones we've written quite recently. So the IFST has a publication, and actually a recent publication was dedicated to sensory. And so as part of that, we had an opportunity to write an article about, so I wrote an article about plant-based products. So, you know, plugging my own work here, but, you know, enjoyable to write, and I hope people have learned something from it. And also another member of the IFST, SSG, Carol, wrote about essentially a day in the life of a sensory scientist. So that's a really interesting read. And one other thing, and you know, plugging the QR code again, one other thing that I'm really proud of is actually the communication with the general public. So as part of this area of work, we've written a sensory fact sheet. So it's fairly and squarely aimed at non-sensory scientists and to a degree non-food scientists. So members of the general public who are interested, maybe people at sixth form or people who are, you know, looking at sensory for other reasons than necessarily a career choice. And if you'd like a copy of that, you can find it at the QR code there.
Oh, that sounds really great. I must download my own copy of that.
Yeah.
So what are you planning for the future?
So really more of the same. You know, we've had such a great I'm going to say couple of years. It sounds weird to say we've had a great couple of years in COVID, but we've had a really productive couple of years. You know, we've expanded the work, the group on the committee. We've written, you know, numerous articles. A couple of other things we're really looking forward, you know, Sarah mentioned before, to getting back to in-person events. You know, the comms is really part of that. We've helped design leaflets and banners in the past. And also kind of promoting, I guess, the IFST SSG section of the website. So looking at that a little bit more.
Yeah, that's great. And congratulations on becoming chair recently. That's really good. So I'm handing over to you now.
You're handing over to me. And I am talking to you. Nice. So Lauren, what are you most proud of as part of the accreditation and education group?
Can I mention a couple of things? Can I cheat a little bit? Well, I'm most proud of the fact that we have these two syllabuses. One for the foundation, which was written in 2006 and has just been updated for this year, and also the intermediate syllabus. And that was just recently updated as well in 2018. It's a real challenge for us in the team to keep these documents up to date and also keep all the exam papers up to date and different for each group. So we have many different groups across the UK who are accredited to run these courses. So universities and also sensory agencies, for example. And we were very excited recently because we had the first group accredited outside the UK. They weren't very far though, it was just Ireland. But welcome Ireland for joining us in this accreditation. And the second thing I was very proud of is that we've had 3,940 people take an IFST sensory science exam. So that's 3,940 potential new sensory scientists. That's the way I like to think of it. Maybe people who are as passionate about it as we are.
Yeah, and I think that's an amazing achievement, Lauren, and all credit to you and your group. And thinking about the future, what are your plans?
Well, we've just been allowed by the IFST to accredit sensory science courses worldwide, which is why Ireland have just joined us. So now anyone in the world can have their course, their sensory science course accredited for the levels foundation or intermediate. So we're going to carry on helping to accredit and maintain those courses, but we need the support from the IFST. So Mario, Angeli, Ruth and Sarah have all been great help in running these courses. And also we have our advanced level, which is the Register of Professional Sensory Scientists. So this is the only qualification of its kind in the world. You can get independent recognition that you're working to a high standard in professional practice. And if you complete all the application forms and are successful, you can also become a chartered scientist and use the designatory letters SNÇ and CSci after your name. So looking forward to getting more people join as a professional sensory scientist in the future.
Perfect. That sounds like a great ambition. So I think we are just wrapping up now. I'm aware we're maybe a couple of minutes over. So Steph, do you have some highlights of things that the group is looking at or looking at introducing in the future? Steph, are you on mute?
Sorry. As you've already alluded to, we are hoping to improve our connections with other sensory science groups, so more collaboration with complementary groups in the future, such as the SCI. We're also hoping to be able to educate and communicate more about the power of sensory science. We're looking at doing more in-person workshop discussions and conferences, although I do feel that a lot of stuff will still remain virtual because it means that it's so much easier for people to join from around the world. We also have a student and early career researchers group, and we're hoping that that is going to grow in the future. So other than that, thank you very much for your time. And back to you, Kate.
Perfect. Yeah, so I'd just like to reiterate, Steph and the whole group, so thank you very much for listening. We hope you found it interesting and informative. We welcome anyone getting in touch, you know, use the QR codes, email us. It would be really great to hear from you, especially about some of those couple of points that we talked about during the presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Very lively presentation. Thank you very much. And also thank you for the QR codes. It's super convenient. So we are now very much looking forward to the E3S General Assembly and Symposium in the UK in May. And now I will hand it over to Pernilla Sandvik for the Swedish Association.
Yes, thank you, Julian. Let me just share my screen here. Please let me know if you can see the presentation.
Yes. Yeah,
yes.
I can see.
So my name is Pernilla Sandvik, and so this presentation will be a monologue. So not as dynamic as this very nice presentation we just heard. But it's my great pleasure to give a short presentation about the Swedish Sensory Network, or SSN, as it's also as we call it. And I'm the chair since last year. And when I'm not working with contributing to SSN, I'm at Uppsala University, Department of Food Studies, Nutrition and Dietetics, working there as an assistant senior lecturer. And SSN, it's a small organization. We're a non-profit, standalone organization. And our work is regulated by the statutes that are set up by our members and the board. So our aims are we want to be a hub for individuals interested in sensory science in Sweden. We want to provide a platform for discussions and knowledge transfer between members. We want to inform members about relevant sensory-related news and events, both in Sweden, in the world, in Europe and the world. And we want to increase knowledge about the usefulness of sensory science. And of course, our members also have the opportunity for international European contacts via our membership in E3S. Some key numbers then. SSN was founded in 1996. So we're 26 years old, if I've counted correctly. And our founder is, you see him on the picture here. His name is Per Hermansson, and he's surrounded by liquor bottles, and that's because he was the chief sensory scientist at the Absolute company. And apparently his nickname was $1 billion Nose. But he was the founder of our society in 1996. And currently we're 76 members, and the number of members varies somewhat between the years. In the table below, you can see that it varies between 70 and up to 100 sometimes. We're of course happy the more members we have. There's a small fee for our membership. It's 55 euros per year. And we have a reduced fee for students and PhD candidates. They pay 10 euros per year to be a member. And in the board, we have at the moment 6 members. And we have 2 events per year that we host. Just to give you an idea of the diversity of our members, about 2/3 are active in industry and mainly food industry. 14% are working at universities, lecturing or doing research. 9% from research institutes, and 11% of our members are students. And to the right, you see some examples of organizations with members in SSN. So the board members are elected for a maximum of 2 times 2 years. So you can sit in the board for 4 years, and then we constantly exchange the members. Right now we're 6 members with different responsibilities. There's a chair, that's me. There's a treasurer, an editor for our webpage and social media, and an editor for our magazine. We have one person that is responsible for our members register, keeping track of all the members and their contacts. And we also, right now, we have one person in the program committee that is especially responsible for planning our events. But the capacity of our society or our organization depends a little bit on how many members we are, especially in the board at the moment, because everyone is doing this on their spare time for free, so to say. And the board has 4 to 8 meetings per year, and these are mainly online now. And I also want to take the opportunity to thank some of the previous chairs, but also previous board members. But the chair before me was Karin Vendin, and we have Andreas Öbrink, Mia Prim, Åsa Öström, and more. And here is, I just did a print screen on some of our online platforms. So here you see our webpage. Unfortunately, this one is only in Swedish right now, but I think it would be a good idea for us to translate it to English as well. We have a Facebook page and also a LinkedIn page. So a little bit more about our activities. The magazine that I mentioned is an online magazine called SNÅ, and here you see an example of how it can look. It's 4 numbers per year are published. And in the magazine, new members have the chance to present themselves. We provide summaries from conferences and other events, etc. Here, for example, we have an article about life without smell, so related to COVID here. And can numbers describe taste? And we have 2 events per year. It's the annual general meeting, which is held in March. And here we present financial statements, and new members are elected to the board and so on. And we also have our yearly member day, which is held in November. And both these events are often combined with a study visit to the sensory department of a company, which is usually highly appreciated by the members. And we also combine it with social activities, such as dinners and other activities. And I think this is really important in our network. Some examples of the events. So the last 2 years, of course, we've held them online. And we had different focus, such as olfactory training and olfactory art. And a benefit of being able to hold these meetings online is that we could invite a really cool olfactory artist from Japan, for example, to present for us. We've also had the theme suboptimal foods, tools for online sensory measurements, sensory aspects of sustainable food packages, future foods, technology and sensory science, and Nordic taste, for example. And here you can see the different companies that hosted these meetings. So future directions then for us, I think we will keep on having events online since we're a national society and Sweden is a long country, and a lot of members have a lot to do at work. So it's beneficial to have some online events where we just can meet. But I also think it's really, really important to keep meeting IRL as well. So this autumn we'll hopefully have the first physical event in a very long time. And something that we think about a lot in the board is how can we provide the best value for our members, since we don't have that much resources or time. So what should we focus on? So that's something that we struggle with. Are we, for example, ready for subgroups, or are our societies too small for this? And we would also be really happy to collaborate more with other European societies, and I think that would be beneficial for us, specifically since we're quite a small group. So thank you so much. This was my last slide, and thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Pernilla. Now I can leave the floor to Barbara Sigmund and Klaus Dusmik, sorry for the pronunciation, on behalf of SNO Lectures. Sorry, Barbara, for the pronunciation.
Leona, thank you for that. I will just try to share the screen. So, can you see the presentation?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So, yeah, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Barbara Sigmund, and I will give this presentation together with my colleague Klaus Dürschmidt. Klaus, are you there? I lost my browser screen here now with this presentation, so I cannot see you, but hopefully you're there.
Yes, I'm here, Barbara. You should start the presentation. It's not yet started.
It's not yet started? Okay.
It's not in presentation mode.
Yes.
Interesting. Because my browser tells me that it's share screen.
The screen is shared, but the presentation not started.
Interesting.
Now, you just have to click on the presentation mode below. Yeah, below on the right, close to the minus plus to enlarge it.
Klaus, do you have the presentation? Could you try to share it?
Because it is shared, Barbara.
Because I started the presentation in PowerPoint here, and I do not know where to put it into presentation mode, because I can see it in presentation mode.
Ah, okay. So I think that maybe you shared it as maybe the another possibility is that you share the whole screen.
Yes.
Is it better now?
No, you need to interrupt the presentation and then share the whole screen, because sometimes if you share only one window, it doesn't work for the presentation mode. So you share again with the sharing all the screen. Yes, we can see it.
So what about
and
that?
now, yes, perfect.
Sorry for that. I never use Google Meet, so there
No
is
problem. In this period, we have to jump from one system to another one. Sorry
for that. So yeah, good afternoon. My name is Barbara Siegmund, and Klaus and I will share this presentation, and we will give you some idea about the Sensorik Netzwerk Österreich. I will call it SNO right now, which is the Austrian Sensory Science Society. Some small outline. What we would like to tell you about is some historic facts, a very brief SNO history, little information about the board and the members, the SNO mission, the events that we carry out at that time now and that are planned for the near future. Our involvement in E3S activities and also SNO research that we are happy to perform. Now, very brief history. Austria is a very small country, and the Sensory Science Society or community is even smaller. We knew each other. We knew who was working in sensory science. Well, we didn't really cooperate, but there was the Pangborn Science Research Symposium in 2009 in Florence, and that was the event where we gathered at a table at the conference dinner, and there the idea of an Austrian network on sensory science was born. And we officially founded the SNO as an association in 2010. And the SNO is a registered association according to Austrian law, which in Austria is necessary if you want to be the organizer of events, if you want to also be able to set registration fees or things like that. So the founding members, I listed them here. You might know some of the names: Elisabeth Buchinger, Eva Derndorfer, Klaus, Birgit Hartjes, Dorota, myself, Martin Wendelin, and Gernot Zweitig. The board changed a little bit. So these are the board members that were elected for the current period, and it is I'm happy that I can play the role as a chair again, with Klaus as the vice chair. According to law, we have to have several roles in this association, with Martin as treasurer and Caro as vice treasurer, Elisabeth and Malis as secretary and vice secretaries. We need to have auditors for financial issues. These roles are covered by Romana and Eva. And there is also Dorota and Roswitha Einzelberger, and they do not have any official roles in the board, but we call them co-opted members, board members, and they are completely integrated in all the activities that we work on. Now, I already mentioned that the sensory science community in Austria is a very small one. So this is the development of the SNO members. And you can see that we end up, and this is what we thought we would reach the number of approximately 50 members. Is a more or less constant number throughout the last 7 or 6 years. Now, where do the people come from? This group is a very heterogeneous group. Quite a lot of them come from academia, researchers, lecturers. We have a lot of student members. We have quite a high number of teachers coming from higher schools for fruit growing and viticulture. As you know, Austrian wine has a very large importance here in Austria, and the sensory properties of wine and sensory education plays a large role in these schools, even at that level of education. So we're very happy to have the teachers in our group. There are some small consulting agencies of people working on as Lauren told before, with the small companies, also performing a lot of sensory trainings for different companies, running projects with companies, etc. Food industry is a little bit different in Austria than in many other countries. We almost do not have large food processing companies, but we have a lot of small companies that are very innovative, producing high quality products, and they need support or networking or whatever in terms of sensory, which is very important. In Austria is also non-food industry, packaging material, paper, cardboard, polyolefins, and as you might know, the especially off-flavor topic in food packaging material has been gaining increasing importance throughout the last years, and we have members from these areas as well. Then there is people from food control and analysis labs, and also persons with no professional sensory background, but with personal interest in sensory science, and they join us in the society as well. Now, what is our mission? As for the Swedish society, the SNO is designed or has been designed as a networking platform without any commercial interest. We also do not offer any sensory trainings or seminars on a commercial basis, because there is people from these consulting agencies that are already mentioned also in the board of the SNO, and we do not want to have the SNO in competition with these small companies. So this is why we do not often offer sensory trainings on a commercial basis. So what do we want to aim with our society? It's the exchange of ideas, it's cooperation in research, also in education, in higher education. It's the propagation, the application of sensory science on different levels. Actually, when I started to cope with this topic, which is approximately 25 years ago, Austria was a quite developing country in sensory science. So I think there a lot of progress was achieved during the last decades. We would like to contribute to sensory science knowledge, to sensory perception knowledge among Austrian population, contribute to development, amelioration, etc. of methods in sensory science as far as possible, and very important, establishment the contacts and cooperations on a national and international level. So, SNO events. We organized actually a quite large number of the network. We organized annual meetings, so you can see the copies of the covers of the little booklets that were edited on these occasions, dedicated to different topics from sensory science. A very important part and the inherent part of each SNO conference, but also other events, is the so-called taste party. And this is something that has become quite popular, because there we try to, it takes place at the end of each event, and there we try to explore exciting sensory experiences and combine that with the social events. So we try to prepare or to offer, I call it uncommon samples here, food or single stimuli that you usually do not taste. Less known sensory techniques can be tried out, and we try to incorporate that with the socializing events at the end of these conferences. And this, I think, was a very nice idea that we started that, and we keep on going with these taste parties in our events. Now, There is also quite nice cooperation with the other German-speaking societies in Europe, with the DG Sense from the German colleagues, and also with the IG Sensorik with the colleagues from Switzerland. And in 2013, there was a joint conference of all these sensory associations. It took place then in Weihenstephan near Munich. And now it's 10 years later, and we're just planning the follow-up conference. So for those who are interested in this conference, the date has been fixed just recently. So it's going to take place in October 23 in Stuttgart in the south of Germany, which is kind of easily reachable for each members of all three societies. So save the date there. And details on this conference will be published ASAP on the websites of all three societies. Now, with the beginning of 2016, we decided to change the format of our SNO events, and we switched from annual meetings to more frequently organized events, and we switched to what we called lecture series. And we had 3 to 4 to 5 lectures spread over the whole year with different topics from sensory science, with colleagues from Austria, but also from, as you can see here, we had Robert Magorski, we had Helene Hopfer, with Thomas Wilgis from other parts of the world, giving us very, very interesting talks in each single case, combined with any taste party at the end of these presentations. Very interesting talks. And then, as for all others, the pandemic forced us to go online. There is also, from every bad side, there's also advantages, and the advantages that we found from these SNO webinars is that it was far easier to get highly qualified and very, very interesting lectures from international colleagues. And this is a list of lectures that we had during 2020 and 21. Very interesting topic. And 3 of them actually, the one of Martin Kern, Jane Parker, and also Thomas Hummel, closely related to problems that came up caused by the pandemic and COVID infections. So we will certainly keep that format and find, let me say, a balanced mix between face-to-face meetings and online events. Now, my final slide here before I hand over to Klaus. We are all a little bit fed up of online events and are looking forward to face-to-face meetings. 2020 was the 10th anniversary for the SNO, which was planned for, I think it was March 2020, a very unlucky date. So we had to cancel this one and we shifted it to this April. So this is going to take place on April 28th. And we plan it as a face-to-face meeting at a very prestigious place for Austria. So this is a part of the Schönbrunn Castle in Vienna. So I think this is going to be a very nice location. So it's 12 years SNO, the dozen is completed. So for those who are interested in this event, the registration is open. Visit the homepage and there you will find information on this event and also the link for the registration, as long as you're interested. And with that slide, I will hand over to Klaus. And Klaus, I will click and you tell me when to click.
Yeah, thanks, Barbara. Please click. Yes, from the future back to the past, to the origin of the Austrian Society, Sensory Science Society. We founding member of the E3S, one of 12 national sensory societies. The constituent session has taken place in Florence, May the 12th. 2011, and we became member, of course, of the E3S, and I had the honor to be the first treasurer of the E3S for 2 years. Next slide, please. maybe some of you can remember the quite festive ceremony of signing in the Galleria degli Uffizi in the Accademia della Scienza. This was really a very moving moment. We had to sign all the documents under the quite stern look of the lawyer. Next, please. Next, please. And we also had our first conference, first E3S conference. You may realize several members of the E3S, quite young looking for me personally. Next, please. And this was the beginning of a large list of conferences of E3S in which the Austrian society was involved, and we really appreciated also the opportunity of networking and socializing with all the colleagues around Europe. Next, please. 2014, we had the honor to host the E3S meeting under the motto of thinking out of the box, which aimed at new methods in sensory and consumer science. And of course, we also had a focus on the pleasure side of the conference, with great meals during the meeting, during the conference, but also after the conference, in a typical Viennese Halligen, as we call it, kind of restaurant where you drink young wine. Next, please. The Austrian Sensory Network, or some of its members, are involved in several working groups, as you can see here. The PDO working group, children group by Marlies Hermann-Wallner. In the education group, Barbara and me are part. Then we have also a student taking part in the student or researcher working group, and Barbara takes place in the non-food working group. Next, please. And a result of this involvement is some publications, some papers from Marlies and Barbara in the monography about non-food sensory practices. Next, please. The SNO decided to do some common research several years ago, and since then we have focused on the conceptualization of smells and odors, and the first study we made was conducted in Austria, and we investigated how several selected odors are able to elicit certain associations and specific age-related associations. And we found several highly interesting, extremely significant results, which we wanted to investigate on a worldwide scale. Next, please. And I think we started this project in 2019. It took us a lot of work in organizing samples, organizing sensory groups throughout the world. Finally, we managed to have groups in Austria, Australia, Germany, Switzerland, Thailand, Vietnam, and the United States, which supported us in doing this work. This work is done in a cooperation with Symrise Austria. Symrise provides all the odors, And as you can see, we have data of 1,675 individuals. The data collection and the evaluation, the statistical processing of data is already finished, and paper writing is almost finished, I would say. Tomorrow morning we have hopefully our last meeting, and yes, we are looking forward to submit the paper in the next days or weeks. Just to make you a bit curious about this study, what we found is that there are several similarities between all the regions we have investigated. So if you have a look at the pink products on the right side, which stands for vanilla aroma, then you see that vanilla is associated with kids in all the regions we have investigated. And this is such a small variability is not true for all the aromas we used. If you have a look at the mint aroma, which is this light blue product in the middle of the axis, then you see a huge variability. Especially Australian participants associated mint strikingly very often with kids, in contrast to all the others who had more the elderly people or the adults associated with mint aroma. And of course, we have not really investigated the causes for these differences, but it's interesting to see that it's not the same in regarding these associations for all over the world, at least the regions we have investigated. Yes, and by making you curious about our next paper, we want to say thanks for listening. Thanks for your attention. Barbara, do you want to add something?
No, thank you. Thanks for giving us the opportunity, and I will end sharing my presentation. Hope this works better, yeah.
Thank you, Barbara and Klaus. Now, last but not the least, Danielle Van Toot, on behalf of on behalf of the sensory product.
Okay, thank you. I will share my screen. Just checking, does this mean I have 4 minutes, or can we, because I see we're running out of time?
No, you can have more time, of course. Yes, you can.
Oh, okay, okay. No, otherwise
no
I
problem.
will be quick. No, that's fine. Okay, great. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So yes, I'm pleased to be able to present our Dutch sensory expert group, or the POF group, Sensorisch Onderzoek, as we call it in Holland. Yeah, we're part of the MOA. So this is the expertise center for marketing, insights, research, and analytics. So we are one of the 5 POF groups, expert groups there. Let me see how I go to the next slide. Now I have I don't have a button for going to the next one.
You can just click on the arrow on the.
I don't have an arrow.
On the keyboard.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Okay. Sorry for that. I will try to do this again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we are founded in 1998, and at the moment we have 127 members. And the objectives, we have 3 objectives of our group. The first is the connection between people that work in sensory, and they can come from industry, from academia, and from research agencies. The second target is really to utilize the knowledge and expertise. So we work together to enhance the quality of research and the development of the sensory field. And the final point is to promote and support the field of sensory and consumer science. And I'm so sorry, but I really can't change. I don't know why I can't change this. And this way it will take really long.
Otherwise, you can send us the presentation and we share it.
Can I send it via the yeah?
To
That would be
secretary
better
or info to us.
Just via the email, you mean, or via just via the chat?
Via the using an email, I think it's better because in the chat I'm not sure. You can send it to info E3SSensory.eu.
You can find my email on the chat. I just wrote
it. Oh yeah, I will do it to info, indeed, info at E3S.
Yes.
I just send it now, so I hope you have it in a second. Did you receive it?
Not yet.
Oh.
This is the other email on the chat if you want to try to send to Sarah.
Yeah.
Because for the moment I didn't receive.
Yeah. Yeah, so I also send it to you.
Okay.
You got it?
Yes.
Ah, that's great. Otherwise, all that work for nothing.
We will do it.
Just 1 second.
It's strange because it's a strange issue.
Yeah, I normally use Zoom and Teams and all these different applications, and normally it works. So I don't know, but anyway, hopefully it works this way.
Yeah. In the meantime, I thank Klaus for sharing these photos because it's nice to see. It has been nice to see. Look at these photos after 10 years.
Ah, yeah. This is.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, great. So can you go to slide, because I have already explained this one. Yeah. So yeah, this is our board members. So I'm the chair of this. My current role is that I'm the director of sensory at Igora and founder of Deep Prime, and I used to work for 25 years in Unilever in different roles. We have also 2 secretaries. Oh,
Sorry.
with 2 secretaries, we have Marike and Louise, who both have different experiences. So as you can see, our board members, they come from research agencies, from education or academics, and from industry, and also people who have moved between these different areas. So we have 2 secretaries, one for the internal affairs, other for the external. Then we have Wim Vaassen, who's advisor, who's the director of Sensor. We have a person, Miriam, who works at the Academy Food Science, and she's also the link to the education. And we have John, who works in a food company, Kosen, and he's responsible for the communication. So it's a small team. We are now as this team together for 2 years. There are not really rules for how many years we should stay, but we have a sort of succession plan that we know that in 1 or 2 years that we will be having somebody who will take over our roles. So please, next one. Yeah. So our activities are that we once or twice a year, we used to have these general membership meetings and expert meetings where we change knowledge. And that was normally always in live physical events. And we went also to excursions to companies. So we went to DSM, to Philips, to Friesland Campina, Kraft Heinz, many different companies, also to the universities to see what they were doing. And that was, of course, just like my previous presenters, a little bit difficult now with COVID. But last year we had the chance to have a physical event when everything was open again. So we went to iQuestion, and that was really nice to see each other again. But in those times of COVID, we thought, what is now the best way to keep interacting with our members? So we set up Digi meetings, virtual events where we could share things together. And I will talk more about that later. We also have quarterly newsletters, which we used to do all the time, giving news about new jobs, about new interesting things in the field. And we have a couple of different tools for networking and interacting. So we have this website of our prof group in which people know how to contact us, also talking about news and events. We have a LinkedIn group where we announce job openings and have discussion topics. And early last year, we had a questionnaire to all our members, because we wanted to know what else can we do, what do they expect, because we saw also our numbers a little bit decline, a few every year, and we thought, what is now really what they need? And one of the outcomes was that they wanted an easy way to interact with the other sensory people in the country, to if they have some issues, like recently about panelist contracts, there was a different law, so people couldn't have temporary contracts. There was much more difficult recently. So this WhatsApp group is a very easy way to interact between sensory scientists or sensory researchers. Another topic that was there was about a plastic ban, because we couldn't use plastic tools anymore in the labs. So that was also a big issue. How should we do our research without that? And then that was also an outcome of the questionnaire, that there should be a better link between the different schools that teach sensory. So we now have an education alignment group where teachers, professors, where they exchange information on what they teach. And I mean, not the certification that is standardized, but really the content of the different lessons. Next slide, please. So this is an example of our website, and people who join our community, they will also get a book, as in the Dutch sensory book. Next slide, please. And our LinkedIn community, This is bigger actually than only the members, so more people can join this one. And we announce here job openings, but also if we have these DG meetings, like last Tuesday, so yesterday, we had a talk on sensory claims from people from different companies who presented their view and their approaches. Next slide, please. And then, yeah, these DIGI meetings. So that the aim of that is to really present, that people from different companies or different positions, that they present on their work and that they share their knowledge and that we have a discussion and that we can network. And we started that, like I said, at the beginning of Corona, because we couldn't have these physical meetings. So we had then 2 meetings to talk about the issues that we now have with running panels in Corona times. First about what are the issues, and then a few months later about how companies approached it, so that others could learn from that. So we had examples from DSM and from Danone. But afterwards, we also had different topics on the Digi meetings. So the ban on plastic, talking about sustainable food transition. We had a sneak preview for the symposium that we were planning. And like I said, a topic on sensory claims. Next slide, please. And then talking about some of the successes of our prof group. Well, we co-developed the Dutch sensory book, which is used also at educations, at the academies where they teach sensory. It's called Taste of Success, Proeven van Succes. And we now have already the 6th edition published. We developed 5 courses in sensory. And since 2005, we organize every 2 and 3 years a symposium called The Taste of Success. Next, please. And these are the sensory courses that we developed together with the academies and the teachers. So we have 2 general sensory courses, A and B, the basic and advanced, and 3 courses about sensory specifically for quality control, for marketing, and for product development. Next one, please. And then, yeah, there is the sensory symposium. I must say it's all in English and it's international. So we also have international speakers, invited guests. It will be all around, the title is A Taste of Change, but around 5 topics that are very relevant in this day and age. So it's about sustainability, about big data, and many more of these topics. And yeah, just like although we talk most of our meetings in Dutch, we would still encourage people in Holland to be part of this sensory network, of this sensory prof group, because our rule is as soon as there is one person not speaking Dutch, we will move to English, and that's fine as well. And this symposium is really in English, and we look forward to it. We postponed it twice because of Corona, and now next month it will really happen. So next slide, please. And that's a quick summary of our Dutch sensory expert group. So people in the Netherlands, yeah, it would be great if you want to join us. But all the others that are participating now, yeah, you're welcome to attend this symposium, Taste of Success. The agenda is already, the program is already on the website. So yeah, look forward to see some of you there. Thank you.
Thank you, Danielle, for this presentation. Thank you very much. I don't know if there are question collected, not in the place of the question. I can see it. Are there comments or questions for all the speakers? Because we left at the end of the discussion. I think it was a very good opportunity to learn how the different societies. In this case, it was also a presentation of 4 different societies, and which activities you organize, how you dealt with also this 2 years of pandemic. And it's good to share this information and the different experience that we had. Thank you. I see a comment from Klaus. So thank you for sending a link, for sharing the photos. And I saw in the photos many times Peter Punter, that I'm happy to remind now after this presentation in particular, because it was at the beginning, as Klaus demonstrated in the photos, it was there at the foundation, and also and this year at Eurosense we will have an award dedicated to him. So it was nice to see this moment. I see also a comment from Paula. It is extremely interesting and impressive to see the range of activities, guidelines, magazine, training, conference led by different societies. Yes. Yes, and no, in fact, I was impressed by how many different activities were described today. And so we have, as we were saying before starting this meeting, we have a last webinar of the series, that is the one organized by the Next Generation Group. And then we will have the General Assembly and working group meetings in presence, and the symposium in presence in Reading, that is organized by the IFST. And so we hope to be there soon, and there will be also it will be the opportunity to celebrate the 10 year of the E3S that we postponed also this celebration, because now it will be 11 years because of the pandemic. But so we organized together with the group in Reading and Stella in particularly something special. So we hope that you can join us for this celebration in presence. Thank you very much to all. I don't see further comments. So have a nice evening and see you soon. Thank you.
Cheerio. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, thanks.
C'è ancora l'apo. Ah, ok, non riuscito. Senti Sara?
Sì, c'è la registrazione da interrompere.
Sì, sì. Tutte le volte mi scordo della registrazione.